Could it be that a well-known Dublin popular station has begun to use this recently? Well, maybe it is just a coincidence. Who knows? But a coincidence, it certainly is. How are you, folks? It's Mark here. Oh, I'm just in from watching a documentary on Morrison's Hotel, which was an album by The Doors. And how groovy and funky it certainly was for its time, circa 1970. And despite trying to stay off the drink, I had maybe a glass and a half of red. But that is me for the night. I'm able to press the stop button. And if the Lord spares me this time next week, I shall be in Madrid, living La Vida Loca, or the 60-something-year-old version of the same. It's been a beautiful day here today in Dublin City, in Ireland, and I certainly hope it's been the same wherever you have been as well. Even if it's been a bit wet and windy, that in itself, my friends, has its own beauty. Hello to the regulars, Jerry and Nigel, and Joan, and Tara, and of course, lovely Susan, who has been in touch by email, up lass, and inspired tonight's show. And hello to Ava, who has recently joined us. I won't say your second name, Ava, but I reckon you're from the States. And American girls, I always like. So, welcome on board, Ava. If the cap fits, wear it. So I was just listening to this watching this documentary and kind of lamenting the fact that the two remaining members of The Doors, Robbie Krieger and our friend, can't remember his first name, Densmore, are still with us. Probably in their 70s now, late 70s maybe. And I was saying to my wife, God, these ages of fucker, it really, excuse my vernacular. Look at them. They were so hip and cool back in the late 60s. And now it's kind of living on memories type thing. And yet the music was still almost contemporary in its feel. One of the tracks, Peace Frog, I would say Free to Do Whatever I Want by the Soup Dragons, certainly owes its lineage to it. I won't say plagiarism, because I know as a person who writes, or used to, that sometimes an earworm can get in that head and you can forget about it, and then you subsequently produce a work that you believe to be original, but has probably been influenced by something you heard. And it's not that you directly set out to copy, it's that it went in somewhere and stayed in the RAM as opposed to maybe the ROM, as opposed to the RAM side of your brain, and it comes out. So I don't believe in accusing people of ripping other songs off. It can happen, and of course it does happen, but it often happens by accident. Genuine accident, I would say. Susan from Yorkshire awakened me somewhat today with her email, which she sent to thismuchistrue@protonmail.com. I would hope to hear from you guys as well. thismuchistrue@protonmail.com. And she was just saying that at a certain point that your age makes it a little bit more difficult to deal with certain situations than, and I'm only interpreting this, Susan, so forgive me if I get it wrong, but age, you're still mentally there, but you're tired, and physically even, you probably haven't the strength to deal with situations that you used to be able to deal with because you're getting on a bit. If the Lord spares me, I am 61 years old this month. Wow. It's just really dawned on me now. It doesn't bother me because in some ways, what about the late Queen Elizabeth? If she said, at the age of 60. Oh, one is definitely done now. What the hell? She had like another 37 years in her tank at that point. Now, I don't believe personally that I will have that longevity. I won't be prodded alive for that long. I have been somewhat compromised with a health issue. Then again, maybe not. If I got even into my 80s, I'd be very grateful. I look to people like Bill Clinton and Larry King and who was the guy from the Rockford Files? What was his name? They all had like bypasses in their 50s and they went on into their 80s. And 80s is kind of standard, isn't it now, for kind of a longevity, life expectancy? I don't want to get morbid because you kind of take it a day at a time anyway. In fact, I went to my cardiologist on Tuesday and basically the deal was see you in a year, but please lose some weight. So, who knows? Who knows? But it's weird because I've had like a second awakening almost. On May 21st, I was well into a bottle of wine. It's not something I make a habit of. Don't think I do, because I don't. But my wife was away at the time and I was well into it. And a facilitator is often, I start watching a music documentary or something, because I just wished I had kind of thrown my lot in with the broadcasting and the music. And so I'd see a documentary on T-Rex or the Bay City Rollers or Duran Duran or whoever it is, and I'll get lost the next minute, and that's just so silly. And I caught myself at that point. And I do believe it was a life-changing moment. And I took a selfie and I just went, I've had enough of this. And folks, I pretty much have. What are we, 8-9 days in? But I have. I've cut down huge time on the drink. I do a few really weird things. Like, well, they're not really weird, but I bathe my feet in a kind of seaweed mix most days, if not most mornings. That's how I start out. I have a cardio exercise, which I think I have put in for you guys before as a link. Do that exercise. The diary, I haven't got it here at the moment, but every day I draw in it. I colour it like a child, but I colour it. And I have my to-do lists in. I have been meeting people as well, which is great. I mean, indeed, yesterday, I won't tell you what budget he said, but I had a coffee with a guy. We're sitting out in the sunshine, and the last words he says to me are, that job's coming up soon. Put between X and Y in the budget. Right? I had a whole meeting with him. And yet he was giving me the tip-off that there was business coming my way and this was your limit kind of thing. Easiest cup of coffee I ever had in my life. And I was with a big multinational, a really big one, on, was it Tuesday? Tuesday or Wednesday? I mean, talk about hoodie central. This place is like a mini city in itself. You might have seen a video I made just after I came out of the meeting where I'm sitting in my car. And much as I enjoy all that kind of cutting edge technology and stuff, I don't buy into the big dream of living life within a Microsoft or a Google or a Facebook or a TikTok. No. I keep you at arm's distance. Fine. And also, if you are lamenting the fact that you're getting a bit on in years, I definitely think you are of the lucky generation, not the unlucky generation. Because we have, including my youngest's, my children, I mean, you have a generation that have been raised from Game Boys to smartphones to tablets to AI, and they've missed out. They've missed out on that cognitive part that is really impossible to function as a human being without. That kind of, they've short-circuited too much. Your brain learns, indeed the plasticity of it doesn't settle until the age of 25. So when you've got young people that are short-circuiting everything with stimulus, it leaves them oftentimes unable to deal with just normal situations. And hence you have your trigger warnings or your quiet spaces. D-Day is going on 80 years now in the next few days? That big landing of World War II to take on Nazi Germany. Where would they be if they were looking for trigger warning alerts and quiet rooms before they took on, I don't know, Das Reich SS or some Wehrmacht battalion? You know, where would they be? Oh no, hold on, that's too much noise for me. I'm on the spectrum. Can I just take time out before this barrage stops? Not at all. You need people who are click, click, click in there, you know. That said, I hate even glorifying anything like that, because I might have mentioned to you guys before, I started out as army barmy. I do think there's a lot to be said for discipline and comradeship and all that. But you know what? When I see young people being blown to smithereens largely in whatever theatre of the world you want to rest your eyes on these days, and you don't have to look very far, I think it is a travesty and it's obnoxious, and all the, you know, the glory-o goes out the fucking window with me, because I do realise we're only passing through Amigo. If you're lucky, you've got your 10. And to see beautiful young people who probably don't even understand what the hell has led them into such a situation where they are no more than fodder for old men, some of them in fucking diapers, or with ideas as to their own virility, which are way past their sell-by date. I feel sorry for young people. I hate it. And yeah, I'm a peacenik, and I'm happy with that. And this 60s, 70s thing, it's all in the bloody mind anyway. It really is. You probably, and I have mentioned him before, he passed away at the age of 75. Wayne Dyer. You might remember him if you think back to your pop psychology books. You know the one I'm talking about, the classic, Your Erroneous Zones? Brilliant. Also a book called Pulling Your Own Strings, The Sky's the Limit. I loved Wayne Dyer before he went a bit woo-woo with all the kind of Eastern philosophy. He was very down to earth and very level-headed. And I used to just love his mindset back then, and how he would rail against certain conventionalities. Can I use that word? I've lost my train of thought, let's be honest, and it's not actually due to alcohol. I've just lost it. I'm sure it'll come to me. How's everything in your life? I hope it's well, and I wish you well. Yeah, as I was saying, I have this kind of renaissance thing recently. It's just whoa. And I'm blown away by AI. When I was young, AI was a guy who wanked off bulls, basically. He went around and he dressed up as a cow, and the bull would mount us, and he that was AI. Now artificial intelligence, and it's still only in the infancy, really, but it is amazing. And I'm not, yes, I can see where it would be a threat. But I asked it to write a story for me recently, and I don't feel AI wrote the story. Yes, it did, but I'm the one who provided it with the raw material, the crazy ideas. It was actually about a little town in Ireland where everybody started swapping each other's heads. I know this sounds crazy, but bear with me, it is abstract, but it was comedic. And I said, do this, do that, make sure there's a bishop involved in it, make it funny, da-da-da-da. And it came out with something really funny and plausible. This is like an AI search engine. You probably are aware of it, most of you guys. ChatGPT and all that. And I didn't think, I thought, yeah, it's written it and it's done it, it's given it the slant and the twist I want. But I provided the input. So it was a collaboration more so than a lazy. I know people are lazy and they have it right. Total stuff for them. In fact, I'll be honest, I recently did a LinkedIn. LinkedIn? I had coffee with the former vice president of that earlier in the year. Well, there's a few vice presidents, but one of them, a guy I knew from way back. And I went to write somebody a nice review, a recommendation. And yeah, I put the raw input in, but ChatGPT dressed it up beautifully for me. So where do you draw the line? Is it me or is it ChatGPT? I'm kind of thinking it's almost 50-50 at this stage. For those of you people in my industry, the voiceover industry, who think that you're going to be immune somehow because AI doesn't do nuances, well, you need to think again, because it will. It's only a matter of time. What I'm hearing and seeing is blowing me away. I'm not threatened. I'm not. By the fact that I think voiceover, as we know it, will probably, to a large degree, be superseded with AI technology. But hey, I mean, look, there's more strings to my bow than just fucking voiceovers. Why don't we have one of these again? Because I like them. For those of you who don't know, probably looking in from America or whatever, that is a sting, as it's known, from a TV series called Minder, which starred Dennis Waterman, the late Dennis Waterman. George Cole was his sidekick in it, who was a slightly older man. They were great times. So I left my wife tonight. That sounds very... No, I mean, I left her inside watching the Kardashians. And I left her ears ringing with, Jesus, how do you watch that shite? And she said, oh, no, I'd never watch it. I'm just looking in to see what it's like. And I'm going, fuck. If these people are role models, we're doomed. I mean, people who are sucking on the teat of daddy's wallet from the get-go. Are we supposed to be in awe of them? You can have all the money in the world and still be a fucking decrepit idiot, vacuous idiot, which is what I'm seeing. If you aspire to that, you are a sad, fucking wishy-washy, non-human being. Because what comes with that kind of insouciance, there's a big word, is usually a brain wattage less than a light bulb and a vacuous outlook on life, and to boot a whiny voice, a little whiny voice who, why isn't everything working out the way I want it to work out? And just because I have money, you've got to kiss my... Oh, Jesus, fuck off. Fuck off and die twice. That is what I say to these, amoeba types. So look, this is beginning to sound like a rant, and I don't mean it to be. It's been a long day. I worked away here on an audiobook for someone today. We ran into some technical difficulties, not of my making. Thank you, ACX Audible. And then there was a whole voiceover for Fact Feast. Do check it out. Will I put a link in the bottom? I won't even bother. I voice Fact Feast, which is a hugely popular historic YouTube channel. That's all I'd say. And it's great because I've grown with it. When it started first, I remember thinking the guy's wasting his money here. And he was. There was no hits, little to no hits coming in. He hit on the Victorian theme even, which I voiced in my Victorian way. Watch out, there's a quill pen coming up your arse at a cinema near you. I'd prefer it was a cinema near me, but hey, that's the kind of guy I am. And that just took off. I mean, I was looking the other day, it was like, still it's small in YouTube terms probably, but still, I mean, we had the latest episode up 3 days, and there was 15,000 hits on it. 3 days. There's 5,000 people a day checking it out, and there's quite a few episodes that are 800,000. So it's been nice to... I'm talking rubbish. I'm going to go to bed. I am really tired. Get in touch. This much is true at protonmail.com. By all means, leave a comment if you must below. Sorry, I'm looking at my screen. Will we put on a bit of Peace Frog? How about that? Peace Frog by The Doors, huh? Let's see. It's quite funky. Fuck it, forever young, guys. I'm free to do whatever I want any old time. Does that sound? Yeah, that. No fool like an old fool. Good night.